So we're gonna talk about dating. So K Dizzle.
All right, because
Before
we had before we got on this show, we had a rousing. I'm using big words like you tonight.
we
Rousing conversation. Okay,
Green Bay
uh,
Packer feet.
a rousing conversation about this. The date do's and don'ts of dating in 23. Why is it so hard? Okay, now go ahead, bro. Because
All right,
I'm gonna
so look,
let you lead on this.
let me go ahead and get it going. So we're gonna talk about dating tonight. We're gonna talk about single stuff, things that K Dizzle and I haven't been a part of for a long time, but we've had history, we've dated. And the good thing about Shanae and myself that I can speak on personally, we go on. That's the thing, Shotty, stick with me. I didn't know that people still dating. That's what we're talking about. But let's be real here. There are single people, so let's show them some love. We're gonna
Yep.
open up the floor tonight. Now, Shanae and I, we go on what's called married people dates.
Hmm.
So we still date. Like we still like to surprise each other, pick a nice location, make some plans, put out some effort, dress up nice, a nice little picture
Right.
session, and we go out and have a great time. And when we take these dates together, ah, when we take these dates, this is the opportunity that we have to actually see other young new couples that are
Hmm.
just arriving to the dating scene in 2023. So, like Shanae says, don't stop dating your spouse just because y'all together.
Very true.
So look, so when I see these people out, I was thinking of K Dizzle, the dating scene doesn't seem to me to be the same like it was when I was out there when I was at a younger age. So we're gonna ask y'all what y'all think. I said to K Dizzle, everybody wants convenience, right?
Yeah.
We're finally getting to a point to where time is almost more valuable than money. Finally, even though we've always pretended to be so. But everybody, we haven't had a surprise date in a long time. We'll talk about that shit. So Arizona says when he goes on dates, he only sees girls out with their friends. But see, where you go in Arizona, we're gonna talk about that because you might be going to a place where these people can't afford these first dates. That's coming up. So here's the thing. I said people don't want to go out and invest time and money with another person that they're not going to see a future with.
No, wait. You said you originally said people don't want to waste time taking people out to dinner.
Correct.
To
So
dinner, right?
all a lot of people are gonna come through the night that I know personally that tell me all the time that all these women, quote unquote, want you to do is feed them. Now I'm not gonna what's up enough said. I'm not gonna take shots at my ladies out there because there's nothing wrong with dinner because I come from the traditional dating, setup.
Hmm.
But a lot of people aren't going the dinner route. I don't want to commit to a time, prime time. Dinner time is going to be anytime between 5 and 9 p.m. So that's the
Okay.
prime time of my day. I got to plan for that time. I got to most likely go through traffic to get to that date because that's prime time. And I got to spend more money because we're going out to more so than likely a nice restaurant. And then when I go through all this commitment, talk about it with my friends all day. Like, I'm going out later. We're gonna have da da da. I'm gearing myself up for all this excitement. And then I get to the restaurant and the date goes nowhere near our plan.
Of course.
So then I'm looking like, all right, I got a bill coming. I done had three Casamigo margaritas at this point because I'm trying to have a good time.
Right.
Now I got a $150 bill down DC somewhere with a
Okay.
person that I'm never gonna call again.
Now, what did I say about that whole situation? Right.
What?
What did I say about the whole situation? If two things you got to ask yourself, right? If you're going to go out on a date, you told me that a dinner date was too much of a commitment. That you rather go on a coffee date
Coffee date
than
for
a
me.
dinner date.
So I'm with the millennials, Kate Dizzle. I've been
Okay.
researching. So apparently, and Coach Nick Love can tell me if I'm wrong. Apparently,
Look at you.
I got a fact.
You leading for confirmation early.
Hey,
Go
that's
ahead.
what we do. Hey. So the number one apparent first date location in America, according to I gotta check my sources, but Starbucks. Why is it Starbucks? They say
Okay.
because there's a lack of commitment. A coffee date, almost like an impromptu speed date. Because I don't want to commit to having to spend $100, $150, pay for all the gas, time, and effort, the clothes. Like I can easily say to a nice young lady who's a professional like myself, look at Erica, she's already on board. I'm telling you, I'm up to something.
Okay.
I can easily meet you in my work attire. You're coming from work, I'm coming from work. We could take a lunch break.
Okay.
We both have the opportunity to get some energy from a nice, refreshing beverage. Everybody loves coffee when you know you're a professional. Mostly, you can get some tea, but it's a great opportunity to meet a person at a good point in their day, to where you can have a nice conversation. You can see a person's character by what they're ordering, how they order,
Okay. So here we
and
go. Right.
how they act when they wait for their order.
So
It's a
when
whole
you at Starbucks, ladies, if you at Starbucks and y'all sit there and y'all order and you get to the register and the man is like, "Can I get a passion fruit yum in the sun venti with an extra shot of what honeydew and put some strawberries, please?" How you gonna feel about that?
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Hey, that could be something that can be brought up in
Look,
conversation.
bypass all the unnecessary. Now, I said
Wise
that could be.
choice, says Lisa Leonard.
Yeah, says Lisa Leonard. So bypassing all the unnecessary. So what was the second thing you said? You asked me about dinner versus Starbucks, right? What was the second thing? Look, here go Ron in his metrosexuality. It's actually good, K Dizzle. It's actually good. It's pretty
Hey,
darn
man, there's
good.
nothing wrong with that.
Look,
Nothing wrong
I'm
with
just
that.
I'm using the drink as an example, the fruitiest drink I can find. But
Well, what
what
else you say?
you said, no, because you asked me this question. You said,
What?
well, what if the woman says,
Oh
well, I
yeah.
want to be taken out on a date. I want to go to dinner.
So that's a point where you can look into your judgment and make a call, because it might not just be the woman. You know, if a guy looks and says, like, I don't just want to go to Starbucks, like I really like her. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, I might take that opportunity as a chance to get another moment to go further. You know what I'm saying? If I'm thinking straight. But a person might see it as like, nah, you're not gonna just Starbucks me. You're not gonna just take me to Starbucks and just get a screener of me and try to make judgment of me in 30 minutes and make a decision about me over coffee. Like, a woman might not be willing to expose herself, or even
Mhm.
men. Let me not be misogynistic. I might not want to be vulnerable over a cup of coffee. I might want to see more effort and more commitment. So I threw that out
Yeah.
there to you. A person might not want to accept that. I might see that coming and say, you know what, no. In order for me to give you my time, you got to take me out to eat.
And exactly what Lisa just said. This is a choice, and now you got to consider and weigh your options. This is where you decide how much of a pursuit you want to put in, and then you decide what that pursuit is going to be from there, right? Whether you're
100%.
committed to finding out who that person is, or you committed to something totally different, what your intentions are at that moment, right? Now, see, this is what Ron says. That's why the conversation leading up to the date is key.
Super.
Key.
What's up,
Mama
my
have us in
dudes?
the
AK
building.
Dizzle, man, put the number up,
I'm
because
gonna put. Oh, see,
the
there we
chat
go.
is coming together tonight, and we're gonna have some guests. And like I said, Coach Nick Love is gonna be joining us in the next probably 5 or 10 minutes to talk
Hmm.
about the don'ts of dating. Marcus Rose, hey lefty.
So it's look, when it really all boils down to it, when we're talking about going on a first date or going somewhere, the whole point and purpose of it is to find out what the intentions are, right? Trying to figure it out. One of the things you said is the convenience part of it. I can understand that. You pulled in a whole bunch of stats, on these places on where they prefer to go, and it does make sense. It does make a lot of sense.
Hold on. Time out, K Dizzle. Arizona, what the hell is a horny Hail Mary? My man said they be throwing horny Hail Marys out here.
Uh-huh.
You got to, yeah. It's like you said. It's the conversation leading up to it. So talk about, before we get going and get everybody in.
Hmm.
Hey, Dizzle, what are some of your dues that you were talking about off the air?
The dues that we have off the air, when do's and don'ts in dating, right? And this can be first dates or multiple dates, right? The first do, okay, is ask questions to find out interest and who they are. No surface questions, right? If you're only asking surface questions, then you are telling on yourself that you may or may not know how to carry a conversation, right? You may or may not know how
So
to
what's the
carry
surface question for those who don't know? K Dizzle,
uh, a surface
break it
question.
down. Break it down for the dating amateurs out here.
What do you like to do for fun? That might be a surface question. Or how was your day today? Or what are some of the things? Or let's see.
What's your favorite color?
What's your favorite color? Yeah,
There
well,
you
that can
go.
be, you can lead. If you're a good person to
You
ask
can take
questions,
that
that'd be
far.
a way. What's up, Amazoni? Love you, love you. Sal says I met my woman in the background first.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either. I have no idea what that means. Hold on, hold on. Another dude before I put you on E is listen with intent. Please listen with intent and be genuinely interested. If you're not, say so. Right? Say so. Say so.
But does it, Marcus Rose? That's what we're trying to figure out. Is dating so complicated? Because I'm telling you, I think the new daters got it figured out because one, they're new. All the new young people don't have time for the bullshit.
Right.
Two, the people who are coming out of divorces, think about it. There's some new daters coming back into the scene. Some of these divorcees, they
Hmm.
don't have time for it. So I don't think it's going to be as difficult if you can come if you can find the right person to go to a Starbucks coffee date with, because I think there's so much to be accomplished in that 20 to 30-minute screen session.
Hmm.
And like I said, we'll find it out. So what's another dude, K?
And
There
the
was
last one, do before I put Erica on is be upfront with your intentions.
okay.
Be upfront with your intention. It
That's pretty
really
deep.
isn't easy, but people make it so complex. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Is your feet clean? Hold
Is
on,
your
hold on.
feet clean?
Erica, what is going on?
Good, Erica.
Hello, can y'all hear me?
We can
Very
hear
well.
you perfectly. What's going on?
Hey y'all.
What's up? What's up? Talk to us.
So basically, I like what y'all saying. I was going to say I dated a guy one time and we talked on the phone for like 2 hours the first time we talked.
Hmm.
And then before we did like your traditional date, we met up at Tucker Road Park.
Hmm.
And
Mm.
we were out there for like 3 hours just and it forced you to communicate and really see like if we connect, and then from there then he asked me out on a proper date, then we went out for lunch and all of that. But I feel like to a degree, um I don't know, this is a little off topic, but I feel like when it comes to like the amount, because I know Hef was saying like spending all this money, I feel like to a degree the man kind of sets that, because if you know you only got $50, just take her take her on an ice cream date. Like women like
Taco Bell,
creativity.
But
And so
nowadays, Erica, with
Wendy's.
the young crowd believes in that equal opportunity, everybody for their self independence. So are the men paying the first day bill like they used to?
I
They
think
should.
they should, but it's some cheap people out here, and you only know your pockets. And I feel like if you date and you got to pay to play, if you want to date multiple people, but you know your pockets can't afford multiple people, then you need to figure out what am I out here doing there.
100%. Now you had the advantage of like, and you kind of described your one of your first dates like me and my baby. We talked on the phone a lot
Mhm.
before we
Yeah,
actually went on a first date. So, do you think it would be the same for you if you didn't have that opportunity to talk on the phone as much? And let's just say you have a quicker opportunity for a date. Is that going to put you behind the eight ball at a success rate because you didn't have as much communication?
I mean, okay, you mean like if we went on a date before we got to talk like on the phone and
Right,
stuff like that?
right.
I mean, I would be cool with it, but the type of person that I am, I'm an extrovert. So like I'm gonna ask questions. But I
Mhm.
kind of gauge like what you be talking about. Like if you saying weird stuff, and that's gonna kind of let me know, all right, this might not go nowhere. Or if you throwing out like little comments like, oh, big money, nah, that ain't going nowhere neither. So it just depends on I don't know. But I
That's
did
facts.
want to add one little thing, like
Go
with the
ahead.
do's and the don'ts. I don't like somebody who's on their phone a lot. Like you should be focused on who you getting to know. Like pay attention. Just see where they at.
I'm with you.
That shows a level of disinterest. So if you're on your phone and you're on a date, you are not there and you are not paying attention. You're not genuinely interested. And
Well,
I agree with you 110%. You got to be in the moment. And unfortunately, a lot of people live through their
why
phones
y'all
and not
looking
in
at
the
my
moment.
forehead?
And look, you just come on and
We
put your
love you, Eric.
forehead
We
on there.
appreciate you. And you already starting a wave of what you don't do. And that's what Coach Nick loves about to do and come on and say, telling us what to not do on these dates. And
Yeah.
Bianca already said too, Erica and Kate Dizzle, feed her or she don't have no convo for you.
She don't have no convo. Hey,
And that's
Erica.
and that's how a lot of
I ain't
people
mad at her.
feel.
Hey,
I
Erica. I
ain't
love.
mad at Bianca.
Yeah, I love you, sis. I'm gonna bring you back on later. Pop off real quick
Okay.
because I gotta
Thank you,
bring in the
Erica.
coach. We're gonna
Peace.
talk about the don't. We're gonna talk about some of the don'ts, but more importantly, we're gonna bring in our good friend Coach Nick Love, who invited to come on tonight. Um, to really hone in on the mistakes that we make in the dating sphere out here. And let me pull myself up to the side, give my man the front screen. Coach
There you
Nick
go.
Love, what's
Welcome
up,
to the
baby?
show, Coach Nick Love.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We doing good, my man. We
Excellent.
doing good. And we appreciate you stopping in and coming in. Have you follow you run the show from here, man. Answer
Nah,
this
man.
question.
First off, thank you very much for joining the All Dressed Up podcast. We got Coach Nick Love in the building, dating coach, expert. Gonna drop some tips and break down some of the don'ts that you do because I've been out the game for a while. I go on my married dates, Coach Nick. You know what I mean? So what are some of the things that you recognize that you just like to open up with about dating and some of the things that you recommend not to do?
Well, first I want to say thank you guys for sharing your platform with me and having me on as a guest. I appreciate you guys. And for your audience who don't know who I am, I'm Coach Nick Love. I'm a dating and relationship coach. I help my clients create a strategic dating plan so they can be successful at dating and date well. And tonight I want to talk about some of the mistakes that people make when it comes to dating. But I heard you guys talking before you brought me on, and so I'm going to also talk about 5 questions that I think you can ask on the first date. And some of the questions might seem surface level, but they not so much surface level. So,
Okay.
All right, Roland,
so
get your pen and pad rolling.
yeah. So the biggest mistake I think that people make when it comes to dating is I think that people don't make dating a priority. So think of anything big in life you want to accomplish. If it's a career change, losing weight, people make it a priority. They set a goal, they put their time, energy, and resources into it, and then they be successful. But when it comes to dating, people don't do that. So I think that's the mistake that people make when it comes to dating. I
Mm,
think that to actually sit down, make a strategic dating plan so they can be successful at dating and date well. And you get different results. Look at what are you doing and look at the results that you're getting from it. And if you're not getting the results that you want, then maybe you need to change the things that you're doing. So
Yeah. So let me ask you a really quick question because Donita in the chat said there's a difference between courting and dating. Can you give a little insight on that and what she might mean by that?
so I look at them both as the same actually. So sometimes like are you both local, like in the Maryland, Baltimore area?
Yeah,
yeah.
for
So,
sure.
like some people might say, oh, I was talking to this person, or I was dating this person, or I was getting to know that person. I look at it all as dating, right? But it's all about what type of dating are you used to, or what type of dating are you willing to accept. So some people might call it courting. I call it all dating because I think it's all you taking your time out your day getting to know someone. So for me,
Okay.
a big difference from the talking stage, the dating stage, or courting. It's all about the type of dater you are. So I don't really separate the two. I look at everything also as dating.
Okay. Well, give us another mistake that you think people make when we're going either courting or dating.
I think another mistake when it comes to dating is that people don't ask for what they want.
Mm.
So instead
Mm.
they accept what is available and they settle for less. And
Ooh.
they'll just be happy with. Well, they won't be happy with that, but that'll make them. They'll end up being resentful or bitter because they
Ooh.
just accepted something that they really didn't really want, but they was like, hey, this is available, so I'm gonna accept it. And it's like going on dates. Some Netflix and chilling. That's the thing. I don't
Mhm.
consider Netflix and chilling a real date. So I advise my clients you shouldn't be Netflix and chilling too early on. You should actually be going out on.
Well,
You know.
Netflix and chilling is just trying to become friends with benefits because the Netflix and chilling ain't Netflix and chilling. Like we understand what it means when we ask to do so. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? When we ask to do so.
But one of the
Hey, when you come over, let's put on a movie. I don't know what you think, but you got to understand what the euphemism think, what the euphemism is, and what it is out there.
Nick's
Yeah.
already not to cut him off, but Nick's already surprising me about the first point because he's mentioning making time and really thinking about your dating. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
reflecting on what you're doing, where you're going. So how do you feel before you continue, Nick, about how I was raving about the coffee date thing?
Okay. So when it comes to a coffee date, I'm not a fan of the coffee date. I think
Okay.
you go out on a date. I'm about the first date. being more so like a dinner date. I think you want to create a romantic setting, and that is time for you guys to like ask each other questions and see if you want to go on a second date. You should be able to get some information out, and you should have some questions. It should be, again, creating a strategic dating plan. So know what you're going to talk about before you even get to your date. Know
Okay.
the you want to ask these the person that you're sitting across from. But I don't think a coffee date is romantic. I think that you can't like put reservations in. You have to seat yourself. And first dates sometimes can cause anxiety. And if you're going on a coffee date, you can't have the option of maybe having a drink to knock off some of the anxiety. Not that you should have multiple drinks, but some people might need that one drink to calm their nerves, and that's not an option at a coffee date.
I totally
Right.
feel you, man. You hitting it on the head. And with me, I'm actually the dinner guy. Like I was always one to eat. I love to eat because I think with eating comes conversation. So I'm with you, Bianca. I don't want no damn coffee either. And I do want a level of commitment with my date. I don't want to sit here and sound all bougie, but at least give me, even from the woman's perspective, come meet me at a nice location, put on something nice that we plan for, and let's see if we can get on time. So I know when I went on my first date with my baby, we met at Dave and Buster's because I was lucky enough to know that she enjoyed competition, she enjoyed sports, and it was right down my alley. So it was perfect. So even if I got nervous, I can say, "Oh, did you see that play?" In the game or something like that. So what else you got, man? What else do you think people aren't really getting in today's dating game?
But yeah, and also I wanted to agree with you when you talked about a coffee date. So I feel like a coffee date is you got 10 to 15 minutes to impress me. Go, like impress me.
You're
So
right, exactly.
it's a pitch.
You got 10 to 15 minutes. So yeah, I feel like that would add extra anxiety on
Stress.
people. And yeah, I just don't really. Again, I don't think it's a romantic setting. There's nothing romantic about a coffee date.
That's a business proposition. Hey,
Yeah,
what you got, what I got. We see if we work out from there.
right. Yeah. But I wanted to touch on like the 5 questions I recommend my clients to ask on the first date. Because I heard you guys talking about like some certain questions on surface level. So I think the first question you should ask on a coffee date is, "How was your day?" And I think you ask that question because how someone answer that question can tell you a lot about a person.
Very
So
interesting.
if this is the first date, the first date, very much like an interview, you're gonna put your best foot forward. And if someone answer this question and they answer it, "Oh, my day was," and they answer it in like a negative way, and that's all they can
Right.
talk about, then that's letting you know that this is probably a negative person.
Mm.
So if you end up dating this person or in a relationship with them, they showing you who they are, a negative person, if that's all they can talk about on the first date. So I think that's a good question to ask on the first date.
Wow.
It could be just it could be in a negative space at that moment. Now, and what I believe too is you can ask that question. It can be a surface question, but if you're going to ask a question, you need to listen to the answer, right? Because a lot of people,
Yeah.
you need to listen to the answer.
But would you show up on a job interview and talk about how horrible your job that you're currently at is?
Always a red flag. And whenever it's funny you say that because whenever I interview someone, because I'm in that position, if I ever sense a person just focusing on the negative, it turns me off.
Mhm.
And that's very true. And even like now, not to get off topic, but like my girl tells me every day, don't come home with that negativity about your long day. So good points.
Yeah, and it's like, can you self-regulate? Can you calm yourself down and walk into a different environment and be able to let that go for now,
Yeah.
for the moment? So I think it's a good question to ask.
Okay.
Another question is, what do you do for a living? So if you don't already know that, and you want to ask this question because if it's something that they enjoy, then you want to become curious about it, curious about their job. When people are talking about things they like, they are loosening up themselves. So loosen them up. Be curious about the job. If they like it, if it's something that they saying like they not really happy with, you want to know if they got a plan. So you want to become curious. Oh, do you have a plan? Are you working on like an exit plan? Because if they not, that's like, that's a complacent person. And if you end up in a relationship with them, then they'll probably come home daily and talk about how they hate their job.
Mm.
And the third question is, what are your interests and hobbies? I think that's a good question because this will get you brownie points if you plan a future date around their interests and hobbies. This will let them know that you were actually listening to them when you ask them about their interests and hobbies. So I think that's a good question too. I know you guys brought that up earlier too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and another one is like, how long have you been single? So if someone's been single for a long time, you need to become curious because this person might be emotionally unavailable or just bad at relationships. Why were you single for so many years? So I think that's a good question to ask. You know,
That is a good question to
ask
ask. And
questions that if you've been strategic with your questions.
But see, Danita asked an interesting question. She says, "Are these blind dates? I think these questions need to be asked before the in-person date." And I agree with you, Danita, but not everybody has the opportunity to ask all these questions. I think in an ideal setting, you have, ask a lot of those questions before you have just that first date. But, if you don't have that opportunity and you do have that first date, what questions are too impersonal? Like how soon, and we were talking about this, K Dizzle,
yeah.
and hopefully more people can come in and join the conversation now and ask Nick some questions. But how early or how too soon would it be to talk about your ex?
Um, comes up is okay, but you shouldn't be bringing up your ex, and the way you talk about your ex will let you know a lot about a person. How someone talk about their ex, if they talking about their ex like, hey, it didn't work, I learned this from the relationship, that might be an okay sign that this person is over it because they taking some accountability. Like a lot of times people see the red flags in the beginning. One of my favorite sayings is that people don't betray us. We betray ourselves when we ignore the red flags in the beginning. I believe the signs are always there. So if someone can be like, I saw the red flags, I didn't pay attention, I know better now, but I'm over that relationship. How people talk about their ex will let you know how they feel about their relationship. If they talking about their ex in a negative way and they putting all the fault on the ex, then that's a red flag.
100%.
But
I agree.
I live and die by the motto of if you let somebody talk long enough, you will always find out what their real intentions
Yeah.
are.
People
So
let you know who they are if you
yeah,
listen. But for
100%.
the question about like are these blind dates? No, a lot of people nowadays meet online, or some people will meet in person at a party,
Hmm.
and they might not want to ask people what you do for a living because they seem pretentious. I don't know. So I'm in the Maryland area. So
Hmm.
in DC, this is a big thing. People don't like to ask that question anymore because people felt that people were being pretentious when they asked, "What do you do for a living?"
Right.
Question is not always asked when you first meet people in person anymore because people feel like they judging you based off of what you do. So some people don't ask that question. And again, if you don't already know the answer. But even if you know the answer, you want to become curious on the date if they enjoy what they do. And if they do, you want to become curious about it. Get more
Yeah.
information.
So enough said divorcing back in the game. Do the same
Absolutely.
rules apply? Absolutely. And let me say this too. If you want to join, do me a favor. Don't call me. Text me at that number 301-857-1757.
We give you guys the
I will
instructions,
send
and
you
I
the
got
link and I will, I'll bring you on if you got some. Erica says, don't dwell. Don't dwell on it and then be negative. Keep it cute or keep it on mute. Ron says, girls bring up their baby daddy in the first 5 minutes. Like, damn, can we get the appetizer first?
and Mike Leonard said one date at Applebee's got that 2 for $25, and we can learn about each other all we want. It's all love, brother. Do people still do the 2 for $25 at Applebee's? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. Depending on what Applebee's we talk about. We in the DMV. It's some you go to, some you don't go to. You feel me?
Some people,
Why bring up an ex? Good question.
Dangerous.
Why bring up an ex? Is it a good idea to do on the first date?
I wouldn't say bring up an ex on the first date is a good idea. No, you shouldn't bring up an ex on the first date.
But a lot of them do. A lot
So
of them do.
before we shift gears and get some more people to come through and ask their questions, Nick, what's another don't? If you
Um,
haven't finished your questions, I'm sorry if I cut you off.
Yeah. So the last question I would recommend is ask the person that you're on a date with, where do they see themselves in 5 years? Because this can let you know a lot about a person too.
Yes.
Um, so it's not a good idea to ask people like, do you want kids? If you want marriage on the first date, but asking this question, if they don't mention that they want kids or marriage, when you ask this question on a later date, if you make it to a later date, you can follow up and say, hey, I noticed when I asked you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? You didn't mention kids or marriage. Is that something that you see in your future? If that's something that you want. So it's just about being strategic how to ask your question and then like sometimes following up with it on a later date.
Got you.
Yeah. And don't ask that in the first 5 minutes.
Oh,
Jesus.
no.
Don't ask that in the first 5 minutes. have some composure before you get there. Don't come at me how your day was. Where you see yourself in 5 years from now. I'm gonna look at you stupid. I'm gonna look at you straight stupid. Get out of here before we even
It
get.
sounds like to me a lot of the good questions that you're recommending should have been asked then and now. You know, it sounds relative.
Not only talk about the ex-wives on date, but show me a picture of them. Like what?
Wow.
Right? It says people think being transparent is being real. That's why they bring exes up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a difference between being real and sharing too much at the beginning.
Yeah, definitely don't overshare in the
Yeah.
beginning.
Don't be too aggressive on the first date, coming on too strong. You know,
Yeah.
apps before exes. No.
Sal says apps before exes. Isn't that crazy? So in today's world, right? I was thinking the coffee date was the way to go. Nick, you shut me down. You told me that's not the way to go. It's not showing the effort. What about the, I guess, intro to the date? Like, is everybody that you're talking to, are they primarily finding their partners online, or are they still meeting people in, like, you know, casual settings? What have you been noticing from your clients?
So the clients that I work with, I recommend my clients to meet people the organic way. So create a lifestyle for yourself where you're going out and you're putting yourself in situations where you can actually meet people that you have things in common with. So if you're someone who loves the museum, if you're someone who loves concerts, put yourself in those places where you can actually meet people that you share common interests with. But also try new things. So I recommend my clients to go out and meet people the organic way. Some of my clients still choose to meet people online, but I'm not a fan of that. I just prefer you to meet people the organic way. I think that
Absolutely.
people in person, you can kind of get a feel of like this type of person they are. You can see what they really look like. And I believe in getting off the couch, getting out the house, and having a life. You know, if
Yeah.
you just sit home all the times on the apps and things like that, is this a lifestyle that you created for yourself that someone actually want to be a part of? So you want a lifestyle where someone want to be a part of it. You don't want to just be, oh, I just sit at home and watch movies all day. Like, who want to be a part of that? You know,
Right.
Right.
it's not tempting. No,
Erica asked an interesting question. She says, "What if you put yourself in those places and still don't meet anybody?"
well, you also have to learn how to work around. So that's what I help what my clients to do is like working around. But you know, like some of the females, you should introduce yourself to the guys. You know, not saying you should ask them out, but it's called dropping a handkerchief, where you drop the handkerchief and let them pick it up. So you're letting them know you exist. You putting yourself out there, and then you see if they will follow up and ask you out. So learn
Hey.
to work around.
Throw the link out there. Wait, so really quick, I got what we're gonna bring on live. Fancy, hey, we're gonna bring you. Welcome to the ADU podcast. Can you hear us? You there, Fancy? Oh, you fancy, huh?
Make sure you allow access to your
You allow access
microphone.
to your camera, your video. Oh, there we go. We got some video action going on. Can you hear us? Okay.
Yes, I can
Yeah,
hear you okay. Hold on, wait. Let me.
we
Damn,
live.
Come on through.
We
Come
live.
on
Come
through.
on through.
can't
Come on
stand
through,
when this
Fancy.
shit happen.
It's all good. You know, we live. That's what we're doing each and every Sunday night.
Look,
First
No,
and
no,
third
wait.
Sunday.
Okay, so that means okay. Wait, give me 1
you
second.
got us on the outside camera. Put us on the
Okay.
inside camera,
Wait,
Fancy. Oh, okay. We'll bring
All
you
right.
back.
We're
You're
gonna
right.
get the technicals,
Look,
technicals
Danita says
together.
no more online BS for me. I prefer meeting people organically and through friends. I need references. Yes, I need references. Like you said, it's a good point of putting yourself
Danita
out
trying to get all her questions answered before she meets you. That's a perfect world.
there.
You know, she trying to get all her fancy. What's up, Ralph? Get the technical
that was
difficulty. There we
stupid.
go.
There we go. We see you in the
I got
staircase.
the
Hit that button.
camera. I'm
Double
sorry,
tap that
fellas. Give
camera.
me 1 second. Like,
Go on. All right, I'll bring you back on when I see your face. All right. So so the other thing is I think bringing the X up because they don't know what to say since they've been out of the game with dating and just a rebound thing. Could be a rebound thing. Lisa says, I used to go with the flow. Once I got a feel for the guy, my questions were based on the vibe, and I kept a 100 to take the pressure off, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of people can't do that. You know, Ron say, hey, IG be popping with the online dating. I don't know.
Leave it up
The
to
hard part
Arizona.
about social media, and I will say this,
What's
is
real?
that yeah, you don't know if the persona you're seeing is the actual person, or if it's the persona they're putting on, and you just the same thing if you look for a date now. I think when we talked earlier before we got on, you talked about the stats on dating apps, making over $4 billion because it's a big business, and I think that could be detrimental to your health as well, mentally too. Imagine putting your picture up on 6 different apps and you never get a swipe right. Now you're feeling a certain way
But
about yourself internally.
it's
So
funny you said that though, because like Nick said, and also I was researching, a lot of people are starting to lower their standards
mhm.
from what I read. And this is going back to what Enough said was saying, coming out of divorces, especially because all right, I'm gonna go ahead and take a pause here because we got some video and audio from a guest. Welcome to the All Dressed Up
What's
Podcast.
up, Fancy?
For one, I want to say hello, welcome, thank you, good evening to all my beautiful, handsome, blessed, God-fearing men of the evening.
I love it. Thank you.
Go on.
Okay, it's like, look, I've been through so much in regards to dealing with men. Um, Give me 1 second. What is this?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Okay, okay,
Turn the
all
green stuff.
right. Give me one
Right.
second.
Go ahead.
Okay, so what I do want to say is, I have a few different things to say when it comes in regards to dealing with relationships and men. For one, you know, we all in in so many relationships. Like people on me. Like I'm so over it. I can't never feel fully feminine, and where I be wanting to feel feminine. You know what I'm saying? I just be needing niggas to understand that it's
Hmm.
true.
When you don't walk out of service, Fancy. You
Yeah.
doing where you at? You've been walked out of service, Fancy. Go on back in that staircase.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see if Fancy can get back into
But
some
she,
Wi-Fi.
hey, she brings to the point where you talking about a woman feeling like she's got to play both roles. Let me put the number up, Donnie. You got to play both roles, even when you talk about in the dating scene, which is difficult. You got any insight on what she's talking about, Nick? What she may be feeling?
If she feeling like maybe that she's dating people that is not the right fit for her. If you feeling like uncomfortable in certain situations, you feeling
Hmm.
like this is not how I want to feel when I'm with a man or whoever, then maybe that's not the one for you. You need to continue your search.
Hmm.
And how often is it that it seems like people find the same person at the same place that they date and expect different results? Like I know that's a whole different conversation in itself.
So a lot of people. So what I do with my clients is that when someone come to me, we do a relationship autopsy. So we
Hmm.
look at their past relationships because if you don't change who you are, then I believe that like to attract like. You're gonna continue to attract the same people
Hmm.
in a different outfit, right? So you
Yeah.
to work on yourself where when you are showing up, you are different than all the people you attracted before. Like if you're the same person, you're gonna attract the same people that you attracted in the past if you didn't do any self work. That's just like a lot of people are now moving to Atlanta or North Carolina thinking they're gonna get different results, but they're taking you with you. So
Absolutely.
they
we're
take
Absolutely.
they
different.
take they taking their talents to Miami, and all the baggage coming with them. So it's truthfully, what's a true statement is if you're not fully prepped and you're not worked on internally, you just bringing all that stuff into the next situation, and it's not really the outside people's change. You need to do some internal searching and change before you get there.
Yeah,
And a part of the issue is some of the people that she's seeing could be because of, like we talked about before, the circles that we're in, and we're not in the right circles where we need to meet the people that we want to attract. So energy begets energy when we're talking about that. Now I got
100%.
a very vocal and very upfront Donita, aka D Styles in the building. What's going on, D?
Hey,
Hey,
how
what
you
you
guys
Welcome,
got?
doing?
Anita. How you doing, dear?
I'm good. Oh, I'm all close, looking crazy.
Go ahead, sis. What you got
Uh,
to say?
Kermit, K Dizzle is my brother, y'all. He always gets me in his foolishness.
Okay.
But I think I heard the woman that was breaking up a little bit. She said she was having trouble meeting guys. Is that what she said?
I think
Well,
she said
I
something along
think
the
more than
lines of
those,
like
she's
guys making
saying,
her feel like herself.
And I just want to expound on that. I thought I heard her say something about masculine energy and feminine energy and how difficult it is for women to rest in their feminine energy when you have so many men now that are to me acting more in their feminine energy. I think that the lack of effort is there. I'm 52. So I've been divorced 6 years, and so when I dated, I was in my 20s. Men took all of your girlfriends out to dinner. You know what I mean? They took us out to dinner, they courted us, they came for us. I mean, and maybe it was because their access was different. The levels, you could only date locally. I'm from the Washington D.C. area, and we could, if you didn't know a woman or know someone through someone or go to school with them or college with them, that was your range. But now that men have so much access, right, to me, you can date someone in California, you can date someone in Africa if you want to. You have so much access that to me, the effort isn't there. And I don't care if you're in your 20s, 50s, or 60s. I'm seeing the same thing across the board with lack of effort, lack of intentions. And then I also talked about courting, because to me, courting is the part where you're getting to know someone on a deeper level or you're dating with intentions. To me, that's my opinion. That's when you ask about, I ain't asking no surface mess. I want to know where you come from, what your mama like, what your daddy like, what relationship you got with your grandmama, because I've been married for 20 years, and that's the BS that you bring into the relationship. If you don't know, if that person hasn't healed from that trauma.
let your
So,
mama beat you.
I'm asking about everything. And I'm asking for it at a coffee date. I'm
Yeah.
asking it for, I know coach said you shouldn't, but here's my thing. I don't even want to sit across from you for a romantic dinner date, because sometimes these men don't even have no money to be able to date a woman. How about that? Be able to date her and or date on your level. If you're a Red Lobster kind of dude, and I ain't got no problems with Red Lobster or Chick-fil-A, or if you were Mastro's kind of dude, date on your level though.
Yeah.
You get
Oh,
what I'm saying? Because
yeah.
I don't need to be sitting in front of a dude. Wherever he takes me, I can take care of the bill too. You get what I'm saying? So I ain't going out to take pictures. I want to be intentional in front of you, asking questions. So I'm gonna get all that preliminary stuff out before I even sit in front of you, because you ain't wasting my time no more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it all out.
That so I think that a lot of I hear people say that often, like, oh, I don't want to waste my time, so I'm just gonna lay all my cards out on the table. You lay your cards out on the table. I think dating is a marathon. It's not a sprint, right? So you want to pace yourself out when you're dating, and I don't believe in going on the first date asking all these intimate questions or personal questions. I think information is earned over time, like trust. So it's fine to go on the first date and let that be easy breezy. And eventually, if y'all continue to date, then you will get to certain questions. But all of these personal questions, I don't feel like people want to be that vulnerable on the first date and talk about how they were raised, or if they went through abuse with their mother or father or something like that. That's being really vulnerable, and some people don't want to do that on the first date. You haven't
Right.
earned that information, so I don't think that we should expect that out of people to just give that information on the first date. And again, dating is a marathon, not a sprint. You want to take your time.
And hold on, hold on.
Yeah,
Let me see. Let
but
me
I
see.
think
Hold on, Donnie, because I know you're gonna come in loose fancy. I'm trying to give Fancy a chance because Fancy in her video having some trouble. I'll bring you back in,
Oh,
Fancy.
you
But I see it's
fancy,
working
huh?
right.
You
no,
fancy,
I'm
huh?
sorry.
Fancy.
I'm not saying ask that on the first date. I'm saying that the courting part starts before you go on the date. So what I'm saying is that's conversation that we need to have over the telephone through a series of conversations. You know what I'm saying? To lead up to it. Because I think the dating I think it should be easy breezy and fun. But what I'm not going to do is, if I'm talking to you, that lets me know you can find out where somebody's coming from sometime in the first conversation. You know what I mean? That lets me know, am I interested to even go any further? It ain't no need for me to sit across from you at a
Mm,
table, at a golf club, whatever we gonna do,
mm.
top golf, whatever it is, if I'm not interested in you. And you got to find that out courting through phone conversation first. To me,
You
that's
gotta
my
have a
Hold,
hard time
yeah.
getting a date
Hold,
with Miss Anita.
hold on, Sinead. Hold on, Sinead. Don't be asking what's your credit score the first day. You tripping,
no, no,
Sinead.
no. That ain't
There
nobody's
she go.
business.
Hey, about
Fancy.
your ass put your goddamn shoes on. That be the shit I be talking about.
Go ahead, Fancy. Go ahead,
Fancy
Fancy.
live back on the All Dressed Up
Fancy.
podcast,
Go ahead,
y'all.
Fancy.
I'm sorry. I didn't even know y'all could hear me.
Go
I'm
ahead.
tired of being nigga mommy.
Oh,
Swear. For God. I be like, you want me to be God mommy or nigga mommy? It be like, bruh, I'm trying, nigga. I'm trying, bruh. It's like these kids, they be trying me every day. If it ain't the kids, it's the Habibs at the job. Cause you know we don't get nothing but calls from the Indians. Hello, can I please check the status of a claim? No, nigga.
Wait a
'Cause you
minute.
ain't gonna understand
Fancy,
the status of the
we are
claim.
live.
You'll
fancy,
never understand the status of the claim. Niggas
fancy.
don't
Keep
never
it on
understand
topic,
the
fancy.
status of a claim. I'm
Fancy,
Fancy,
keep
so
it
reel
on
it back
tired.
topic.
in now. Come on, Fancy. We talking about dating, baby. What we talking about?
I'm tired of niggas not understanding the claim.
All right.
Sweet baby
The
Jesus.
plan.
What's
The member don't have the plan. You don't understand the claim and you don't have the plan. I'm tired of this shit. Nigga mommy. Put
they,
your goddamn shoes on. For
they
whoop
don't
your
have
ass.
a plan? You
I
telling
came
me
to
they're not
church
having a
today. You
plan?
know what? I be
Go on, Tommy.
trying, nigga. I be praying, nigga. I try. You know what? And one thing I can say about a woman of God is, nigga, we try. Okay? Just leave me alone. Leave me alone on a lot of different levels.
All right,
Leave me alone on a lot of different reasons. But what's that, Kiki? Kiki, you got the light, Kiki.
all right,
Kiki,
Fancy. I'm gonna let you go. Fancy that came on and said, look, just have a man with a plan.
Hey man, it's
Have a
Sunday
plan.
night, man.
It
You
is
know,
Sunday
fancy
night. We
getting
live.
fancy out here. We appreciate you, Coach Nick Love, for coming through and really breaking it down for us because I heard a lot of great things. And like Chanel said, K Dizzle, ask some real shit on the first date. Danita was talking about
Understandable.
getting a whole bunch of information. I'm the type of person to where I'm not up for all that exposure. Like I don't feel like I want to expose myself to where you're gonna judge me just to make it to the next level. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like I gotta pass these prerequisites, and I get it. A woman and a man deserve everything that they're looking for in a relationship. But just because a person doesn't check off every single box and answer an interview perfectly doesn't mean they're not the best person for the job.
Well, let me add to that too as well, because when we're talking about dating too, we're talking about different levels of it as well. And people are in different places and different spaces within their lives. And sometimes they'll put emphasis on like dating in your 20s is different from your 30s, which is different from your 40s and different from your 50s. Everybody's got a certain time span and frame that they say, hey, this is how much time I want to spend on to see whether this works or not. Like you said, you have a plan when you're talking about dating. It's one of the first things Coach Nick Love said. And some people say, hey, this is going to be a plan. I want to make sure that you're along the same plane. You're along the same plans as I am. So they're going to ask specific questions with definite intent, definite intent based on how they feel and whether they want to invest the time into it or not. Like you said, people already alone have issues with communication. And if you bring too many hard, tough questions in which make people feel vulnerable, which they're never used to doing prior, they are either going to close up or they're going to open, and you'll only know from when you ask those questions. And I don't think you say it on the first one, but when you do ask them, just make sure you have tact and you have good conversation with that as well. So, and you have a plan moving forward and pushing forward as well. Um, People are nervous to waste their time. People are definitely nervous to waste their time. So, hey, Coach Nick, I'm gonna pull you in, man. I'm gonna give you some of the last words, man. What do you think on the conversation that we had tonight?
I think it was great. I think that so my what I do is like again, I help people create a strategic dating plan when it
Mhm.
comes to dating, and I'm for the people who are not happy with the results that they're getting when it comes to dating. So if you're not happy with the results, then maybe change some things up and see if you get different results. Some things people might not agree with me on, but if what you're doing is working, then of course stick with that. I want you to stick with whatever's working for you. But if it's not, be open to dating a different way than you dated in the past, and maybe you'll get different results. So it's just all about looking at the results that you're getting. If you're happy with those results, then fine. But if not, maybe just change some things up.
Switch it up a little bit. Switch
Do
it
Yeah.
something
definitely up.
different. You want to get something out of something and get a better or different result, change the game up. And K Dizzle was gracious enough to put your website, Nick, in the chat and also your Instagram link as well. Where can we find you? And if we want more information about maybe signing you up for a coach, what do we need to do?
You can contact me on all social media platforms, Coach Nick Love on Facebook, Instagram. My website is coachnicklove.com. So if you anyone want any assistance when it comes to dating, just hit me up.
All right, man. Appreciate you stopping
Thank
in.
you so much, man. Thank you.
Love
All right.
you, guys. Appreciate it.
I know, and they know, 'cause we know.